All right. Did you have any idea what you wanted to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a nurse. My mother said it was too hard to work.
Being a nurse was too hard at work?
Yes, and
So she said,
she
don't do it?
settled on my being a secretary. I started at, I think, $15 a week.
Right.
No, $25 a week. I started in 1948.
Where was that at?
New Enterprise Center Lime. I worked there for 10 or 15 years, and then we moved to Spring Grove.
When you were a kid, do you remember any big world events that happened that come to mind?
I remember of Roosevelt dying, and I said to a Democrat who was a classmate of mine, I was glad he'd died, and she was so upset about that I would wish death on the president because he was Democrat.
How about inventions? Any big inventions that really...
There probably were. There's none that sticks in my mind.
Right. Well, what do you think is different about kids growing up today than when you grew up?
Oh, well, they have computers and iPhones and all sorts of electronic gadgets, which we didn't have. We didn't even have calculators, so we had to do our math in our head, which was good.
Yeah. Well, when you were a teenager, when you get a little older, let's say 16, 17, 18, what did you like to do for fun?
Go to the movies.
Where was the movies at?
Probably 10 or 15 miles up from our home, Roaring Spring.
And how did you get there?
Well, one time I went on motorcycle, which I can't understand why my mother left me go on, but it was a date, and he was a junior or senior in high school. I wasn't allowed to date until I was 16, and then Dad come along and moved in, and he had a car, his dad's car. So before then, I would either go with my girlfriend, by her dad take us, or our hired man used to take us.
Your what?
Hired hand.
Oh.
We had a hired hand on a farm from Pittsburgh.
Did you have a curfew?
Oh yes, 12 o'clock.
12 o'clock, you had to be at home?
Yeah.
Did you ever miss the curfew?
Yes.
Did you get in a little bit of trouble?
Well, my mother, if Dad wasn't out of the house, my mother would take the heel of her shoe and bang on the bedroom floor upstairs, and I knew it was time for him to go.
That's pretty funny. When you were a teenager, were there any phrases, any things that kids said?
There probably were, but I don't remember.
How about favorite songs? Did you have a favorite song or music that you liked when you were, you look at Hannah and Leah and teenagers today. They have their favorite songs, their favorite groups. Was it like that when you were a kid? Did you listen to much music?
There probably was, but I don't remember of a favorite song or group.
When did you learn to drive?
At 16, so I could take my mother
Where?
To church, or she did surveys and she got paid for it. So I would take her people's houses to do a survey.
She did surveys for who?
What?
For who? Who did she do
Company.
surveys for? Yeah.
Company.
Yeah.
My mother was a school teacher, so she was educated.
Well, she was a school teacher when?
In her younger years.
Right. Well, not while you were. Well, was she a school
No.
teacher when you were little? No.
No, when she got married, she probably quit teaching and moved back. She taught in Western Pennsylvania, and I remember she said she had some coal miners as students, and she carried a gun. So.
She carried a gun.
Yeah, she had a gun.
Wow, that I didn't know. Well, who taught you to drive?
My older brother. My younger brother.
No, you don't have any younger brothers.
Hi.
Your youngest older brother.
The youngest, oldest, yeah.
Well, you must have taken to driving pretty well because of your time in the Powder Puff Derby. How did
We don't talk about that.
No, how did that come about? How did you
Well,
start
that was
racing cars?
Before, after I was married and before I had children, the man needed a driver to enter the Powder Puff. And his name was... Now that left me. I talked to his son not too long ago, and his son knew that I was the driver for his dad. But the man is long gone, and the car, it was a roadster, single seat.
And how many times did you do that?
Oh, I know I did it when Jim's grandfather laid out dead, and there was a viewing that night, and I had to go race, and my mother-in-law was upset with me because I had to go race instead of sit there watching the body.
Well, how many times did you race?
Oh, a couple years.
Really? Did you ever win?
I don't remember that.
So they didn't give out. Did you get prize money, or was there trophies?
No.
Or was this
No.
just for fun?
Probably announcing it was the best you could do.
Right. So you did it for a couple of years. Well, there are pictures. We do have pictures of you in the car.
Yes.
That's pretty amazing that exists. I think that's pretty cool. Oh, hold on.
Don't count on it.
Let's see. So you were a secretary at Stone and Lime, and you basically continued being the secretary for most of your adult life, right?
Yes.
Where did you go after Stone and Lime? Where did you work?
Well, we moved to Spring Grove, and I worked for P.H. Gladfelder, the paper mill, in Spring Grove, and I moved into the sales position there. So.
And then after Spring Grove, you moved to Camp Hill?
Camp Hill, but I stayed at home with you two, because Richard was a baby. And then from Camp Hill, we were there for 3 years. Then we moved to Spring Grove, and I worked in Spring Grove for the paper mill for 10 years till we adopted you. And then I was supposed to be a home mother, which I was. And from Spring Grove, we moved to
Camp Hill. But you got a little bit backwards there. You went from Spring Grove to Camp Hill, and then Camp Hill to Kutztown.
yeah.
So you moved to Kutztown. How did you get the job at the high school? That's right. That's where you started working, right?
Yes. I think I applied for it and I got it. It was in the guidance department and Jim was working guidance. So I was sort of a natural for that.
And you spent a lot of years at the high school, right?
Yeah. Probably. And then I retired from the high school and I went Good Shepherd part-time. And then it developed into a full-time job. And I was there for 10 years.
At Good Shepherd, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you like your career choice? Were you happy with everything you did with your career?
Yeah, I met a lot of interesting people.
Right. Well, let's go back a little bit. How did you first meet Dad? Do you remember?
Oh, I met him in high school. He came from Everett into our school district, and he was a year ahead of me. And he dated all my girlfriends. And I used to pass notes to the girls for him. So it just...
You were the intermediary between
Yeah.
him and all the other girls, huh?
Yes.
Well, that had to make
That's
you feel
about-
good. Yeah?
And he ditched me a couple times. I remember one time he ditched me and went with my girlfriend. And I just left school. It was more than I could take. So I just up and walked home.
Well, what was it about, what did you like about Dad when he was young?
Well, he was from a bigger school, say a city school. And I don't know what attracted me to him.
You have no idea?
Huh?
Was he, well, he couldn't have been very funny.